Hello and welcome to episode 13 of the Lorefield Podcast. I'm your co-host Mitch, along with our returning co-host Yzra. Welcome back.
Hello.
There's been a lack of news since our last episode, so today we'll be taking a look at the predictions we made before June's showcase and shouting out our community members who made predictions of their own. Some of you were really spot on, and it was great. Yzra, it's your first show since the June showcase, so welcome back again, and just tell us a little bit about what you thought of it.
I was blown away, like pretty much everyone else in the community. 1,000 planets. I can't even comprehend how long that's going to take. Like, to explore. Some of them might be fully procedurally generated, but with, the handcrafted areas and the main planets, obviously. But 1,000, that's insane for a Bethesda game. Like, usually we get, like, one region of a map.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. I was really happy that Todd admitted, like, some of the planets are just going to be completely empty. Like, there's just going to be the ice balls with nothing. That was going to be something that people kind of jumped on the hate train about. So I was glad Todd just kind of like took it on the chin and was like, yes, some of them will be empty. But yeah, it's just a mind-blowing number. Do you know what background you want to pick? Like, or even like just what direction you want to take your character as far as like how to approach combat and stuff?
Okay, I think I'm gonna go with. See, I've always been weird with weapons. I'm probably gonna go melee and pistols, and I'm gonna spec for speech, I think, because I really want to abuse the speech system, and I'm hoping I can exploit it to get my way around annoying situations.
That's interesting. So you want to be like a smooth talker with an emphasis on melee weapons. So like, if the talks go bad, then you're standing right in front of them already. You can just
Pretty much.
stab them or slice and dice them. Nice. And then I know from previous conversations that you're leaning towards joining the United Colonies. That's a really good pick because New Atlantis looks so cool.
It does.
Do you know what you're going to do with the Crimson Fleet? Join them, turn them in?
I think I'm gonna. I mean, if it's a possibility, infiltrate them, and then sell their secrets to United Colonies.
Nice, nice. A true allegiance to the UC.
I'll be like a pirate spy.
Yeah. What did Emil say? Space cop. Very cool. We're still waiting on more news, but we have this giant list of predictions, and what we're kind of going to go through them again because what's interesting about the predictions we made is that some of these aren't like there's a lot of ambiguity. Like they're kind of were maybe answered, and like we can't. It's hard to assign point values to them. So we're just going to go through them. Yeah. In the first category, remember we went over character creation in the prologue. Will we make our character with sliders or by sculpting the character's face? It looked to me like sliders.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go with sliders, but I don't know. I feel like the sculpting was kind of cool. I mean, unless they do like a mix of both, and you can do both. It's optional, and like when you start sculpting, it will move some of the sliders automatically.
Yeah, looking back at our predictions from 2 episodes ago, you and I both predicted both, and then Juice had said sculpting, and Oda said sliders. So we were all over the place with this one. I don't recall the cursor going over the actual character, but I do remember when they were adjusting the body type for the character, that was on like a sliding scale. But so was Fallout 4. That was the one slider in Fallout 4. Well, not the only slider, but you used a slider to adjust your body with that triangle thing.
Like, did they show like? Are there like more body options this time?
It looked a little more expansive. I'm excited for it.
Same.
Will Starfield provide starting location choice? This was another one, or this one seemed like a no to me. I don't know if you felt differently.
From the gameplay, I'd say no. But I'm hoping still yes, because that parent trait where your parents are alive, I'd love to start in my parents' house in game. I don't know,
Oh, that'd be
that'd
cool.
just be like the coolest and weirdest beginning to a game ever. I feel like a Pokemon game where you leave your house for the first time.
Oh, that's good. That'd be awesome.
Just instead, like in Pokemon, you're like 10, but in this game you'll be like 23 years old. So there's a big age gap in that comparison.
If it is true that there's no starting location choice, and I think we should probably judge these based on like what is implied rather than what is confirmed, because a lot of these we could debate all day. But if it is true that there's no starting location choice, Juicehead would be the only one that gets that point.
Okay.
And then here's an interesting one. Will Starfield have us pick a class? At first I was like, well, of course not. Todd didn't say the word class the whole time. But backgrounds are basically classes.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of... I mean, they do similar things, right? Like, your background will... it's like picking a class. What do you want to be good at? Like, where'd you come from? What do you specialize in? That kind of thing, right? Did I get that right, or...?
Yeah. Each
Okay.
background gives you like the first rank of 3 skills, if my understanding is correct.
Okay. So backgrounds, they're when you create your character, they're not like... And then you expand them later, I assume.
And I was just comparing that to like Oblivion, which had classes, and what did that like boosted some of your attribute points, I think, and maybe had like some special effect on skills.
But I think in Oblivion, your class affected what level your skill started at. And I'm not sure, but maybe affected how much XP they get. I'm not sure on that one though. That might be inaccurate.
Okay. I think those two things are close enough that we could effectively say that yes, Starfield has us pick a class. Would you agree?
I would.
Okay. All of us get the point. Does Starfield have manual flight? We're moving on to game mechanics now. It did have manual flight. Will there be a choice between auto and manual flight? That was, I think it was unconfirmed. If it was, I missed it.
I think it's gonna be like No Man's Sky. You have to, and I know like people are sick of the No Man's Sky comparisons in the community, but I think it's always going to be manual, but it seems to be very slow paced, so I think it's going to be very hard to mess up. Cause it's not like you can crash into a planet, because, well, I believe they said there's no orbital, like flying.
Oh, right. Like you can't go down onto the planet.
Manually fly around. You have to like, I don't know. I'm assuming you pick a landing spot from the maps of the planet, and then it plays that cutscene. Which I have a theory about that, but I'll let you say your thing first.
Okay. Yeah. As far as like auto versus manual flight, I don't think there's going to be a mode like riding a carriage in Red Dead Redemption 2 where like you can just do this cinematic thing like chill in the back seat while someone else flies the ship. I haven't seen any indication of that. I guess going by our previous rule of like what is implied by the showcase rather than what is confirmed, I think this is probably a no, that there's not a choice between auto and manual flight. But yeah. What are you thinking about the landing zones or the takeoff animation?
I don't know, and I'm probably going to be wrong, but I believe it's not just about, manual flight could be bad on planetary, because players crashing their ships, what would happen? Like, there's all those factors. So, but I think when you enter orbit, it plays the animation, and what the animation is, it's hiding a loading screen, and they'll utilize the SSDs to quickly load the game. So when the cutscene ends, you're automatically in the game.
It's going to be the Fallout 4 elevator.
Yeah, but this time quick, because it's not on Xbox One. The only downside is PC users who have hard drives with that, but they'll probably recommend you have an SSD. So I don't know how they'll do that. Say if the cutscene ends, maybe you'll just get a black screen or a traditional loading screen while it finishes. Something like that. That's my theory. I think that could work.
I really like that, and it would make perfect sense.
Yeah, like, think about it, like, you get this cool cutscene every time, and the game is, like, using the SSD to quickly load, so you don't have to have a loading screen. And maybe the train in Neon or New Atlantis, maybe that plays an animation while the other section of the city loads or something, as well.
Yeah, good thinking.
The M.2 SSD stuff like that, I think they're M.2s. And NVMe, I think. Anyway, they're really fast. Like, if they optimize the loading well, yeah, they can load these incredibly fast. And that's just my theory. Maybe they will still have loading screens, I don't know. It's just, I don't know, it seems perfect. It's a next-gen only game, and both next-gen consoles have the SSDs. And they can't play new games off a hard drive. It'd be only PC users with hard drives that would struggle.
And I think now being under the umbrella of Microsoft, they're going to be building their games for console, perhaps now more than ever.
Well, pretty much the Xbox is just Windows. Heavily modified Windows and stripped down. But at its underneath, it's still Windows based, I believe. So I think for hard drive users on PC, they'll have some sort of failsafe, say a loading bar or something. Screen goes black, and then you gotta wait.
Interesting. We'll have to wait and see, but I really like that theory and hope it's true.
It just make everything so seamless as well. I mean, maybe when you start to enter orbit, there's a quick black screen while it switches to cutscene, and it begins to load, and then a black screen after.
Sure, yeah, like a fade in, fade out thing.
And like that's the transition. So screen fades out, you're teleported on the planet, and everything starts loading around you while the cutscene plays. Then when the cutscene ends, that fades to black, and then you're inside the ship where you should be. Might not work like this, but that's just, a theory I had.
And we do know there's going to be a lot on those planets to load, because Starfield will have planet-sized planets. And I think this might have been the biggest surprise for me. All four of us had it wrong. We all said it would not have planet-sized planets. But it makes sense. We knew there was going to be manual flight. And Bethesda is very, go anywhere, do anything. How could they not have planet-sized planets? If you're restricted to this little zone, but they let you fly, how would they have those two things in the game at once? So it makes sense now, but yeah, it was a shock, honestly. What were you thinking? I know I see here you also said we wouldn't have planet-sized planets like all four of us.
For me, that's just kind of mind-blowing, because no one is going to experience an entire planet. Someone might fly around the planet. I don't know. It's probably going to take a long time, or they're going to walk around the planet, and challenge us, how many days does it take to walk around the planet? And they've been walking for I don't know, how long does it take to walk around the Earth? Probably a year.
I think that sounds right, yeah.
So someone would have to play every day for a year. It'd probably take a lot longer than a year, actually. Because if they're taking breaks and naps, then it's probably going to take 3 years to walk around the planet. And that's only in one direction. Also, it depends on the size of the planet, so it could be longer. And I say that just to put it in perspective. yes, there'll be quite a lot of people playing this game, but there's no way everyone's going to see everything. Even all the players combined, there's no way. With those planet sizes, there's no way, absolutely, that players are going to experience an entire planet. Which is probably a good thing, because most of them are probably going to be very dull. Unless they have like cool scenery, but there's probably going to be like videos how to get this amazing view on this planet for a settlement or something. I don't know.
I've sort of accepted that a lot of the planets will be dull and empty, kind of devoid. I'm sure there'll be plenty of beautiful landscapes, like you say, but I really, really hope that there's procedurally generated like content, whether that's like procedurally generated settlements, farming villages, caves, dungeons, ruins, whatever. I hope there's more to it than just the landscapes. And that's to be differentiated between all of the handcrafted content they're doing, of which we know there's a ton. But 200,000 lines of dialogue and all the content that comes with that is still not going to fill out 1,000 planets. So I hope there's more that they're incorporating procedurally into some of these planets.
Yeah.
Even if they're not like fun compared to the handcrafted dungeons, they're just something to do. Yeah, I'll still have fun even if there's nothing, but having something there if you want to would be nice.
I'm the kind of player that would find a planet the furthest away. The absolute furthest on the settled system map, just so I can put a settlement on it and enforce all of the trading, like convoys and stuff, to travel to the edge of the galaxy, in the middle of, not galaxy, the edge of the settled systems. They have to fly past all these abandoned planet, well, not abandoned, you know what I mean, flying. They've got to travel all this way right to the edge of the settled systems just to come to my settlement.
That's funny.
I'm gonna make
You'll be single-handedly responsible for the sky-high helium-3 prices.
Yeah.
In settled systems.
So just wait. I'm hoping that furthest away planet is a helium-free gold mine. I can start charging obnoxious prices for them.
We didn't hear anything about the economy, and that's something I'm really curious about. Just how it'll work, if you can mess with it a lot, or if it is a little more stagnant. Because not to do another No Man's Sky comparison, but in that game you can completely break a star system's economy by producing a ton of a certain item or buying like all of a certain kind of item.
I'm guilty of that. So I sell these stasis devices, like I have a farm for them, and I just need plants and nitrogen, oxygen and sulfurate, and I just make these stasis devices that's supposed to increase your life in like the lore of that game. It didn't actually work in game, and like I made like 4 billion, but I broke like several economies to do it. Don't worry, they're recovered, but I kind of bankrupted them for a while.
I hope we can do something similar in Starfield. That is something that just fits into the Bethesda formula too nicely to like not have it.
You get a newspaper or a data log. You've bankrupted an entire company. Ryujin announces they've gone bankrupt because the player decided they were going to sell 20 million pounds of 20,000 pounds of Aurora delivered to New Atlantis, sent by Ryujin. I don't know. It'd be kind of cool if you could like affect economies and stuff. So if you mess up and you break an economy, it would take in-game years to recover fully. So if you use an exploit and you mess up, your economy is going to be broken. Probably sell prices will be low, buy prices will be high. Like, I don't know. Most people would get pissed off with that, but I feel that would be funny.
Absolutely.
Because then you'd be like, oh no, I ruined my game. Though I think there should be a limit. So if you sell like so much of one item, then that item starts to, well, that item starts to become like less in demand, and it sells for less because it's rare until they have too much of it. There's always one ammo type that's really rare in Bethesda games, so just like stock up on that in Starfield. And if you don't use those kinds of weapons, just sell it.
Eventually, certain types of ammo just become currency themselves.
But like, if you could break the economy, you could decrease the the sell price of items. So something very valuable, if you sell enough of it, it could become, well, you won't get a lot for the price. Like the sell price will go down. I mean, like that's reversed. So, how much they'll buy it off you for? When I say sell.
Right.
Instead of how like the actual buying price will go down, just how much they'll give you. So if I sell 20,000 ammo, maybe a percentage of that ammo will be at a reduced price because you just sold them like a ton of ammo or something, and then the ammo is not going to be in demand in the market. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this, and it's going to be old Bethesda. You sell, they run out of money. You wait 48 hours, and they're back to normal.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how each system's economy will interact with each other's, if each system does have its own economy. We don't know that. So, speaking of systems, saying speaking of is not a good. Anyway, will planets and systems have simulated orbits?
I don't think they confirmed it, but they did partially show a system map, I believe. And they showed the sun had a gravitational wave. I think that's what you call it. Like you could see the gravity around the star as it bent the grid. Can't remember if you can see the planet orbits. It's like when I brought up the predictions. I don't know how they're going to do it, because on a planet, you've got to see orbits, right? Because you do in Elder Scrolls. There's not much to see in Fallout, it's just one moon. Because it's Earth, but I don't know, so if there's like 4 or 5 planets. Well, it depends how close they are. I mean, outside New Atlantis, I think New Atlantis is going to be on a moon. I don't know, because there's that massive planet in the background, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it's a. Is it a moon? No. New Atlantis is on Jemison. It's on the planet. But there is like a really large. Maybe it's a large moon.
Unless the 2 planets are very close to each other.
That could be as well. The thing is, if you can open the system map and you can see a star and you can see planets orbiting around that star, but you go in the game and it's just each planet is its own reality. Like there's no interconnectivity between these bodies as they orbit around each other. Does that really count as a simulated orbit? Because at that point, it's just spheres going in circles in the map.
I think I just had an idea. Maybe when you get into the system itself, it's all static. Planets don't move, they don't do anything. When you're on a planet, then you start to see the orbits and stuff. But when you go back into space, it's the static area again. Just so planets aren't moving, you don't get confused. You're trying to chase a planet and it's moving too quickly. I know planets don't move that quickly, but you know.
So if they are static while you're flying in the solar system, is that would be no simulated orbits, even if they do move in the map?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I have no idea. We could just award half a point to everybody on that one, because that's a really interesting question that is very open still.
Yeah, I'd say it's very open.
Okay. Everyone except me said no to simulated orbits. I said yes, and I would not be satisfied with moving spheres in the map as counting as simulated orbits. I'd want something that is more concrete, that you can actually see and experience in the game to be a simulated orbit. And I haven't seen evidence of that, but it could be there. So yeah, we'll just do half point for everybody and kind of void that one. The next several are very straightforward. Will Starfield have ship dogfighting? And will Starfield have modular ship customization? All of those are yes, and all four of us said yes to both of those. Will ship customization affect ship stats, or will it be aesthetic only? We all said it would affect stats, and it does. Will we be able to purchase and own an entirely new ship that is not the Frontier? This seems to be yes. We know we can steal a ship that is not the Frontier and fly it. We know we can construct a ship basically from scratch. So almost definitely we can purchase a ship somewhere. And if that is the case, Juicehead said no. The rest of us said yes. So unfortunately, Juicehead lost out on that particular one. What do you think about this one? Will Starfield allow settlement building anywhere outside certain populated areas such as New Atlantis?
I think yes. Because that's pretty much what Todd was alluding to, right? They said you can go out and then you can set up like an outpost beacon. But I do think you can't just walk outside New Atlantis and make a settlement right outside New Atlantis. I think you might have to walk a bit.
I'm not sure. That's an interesting one. I'm leaning towards yes, that you can build pretty much anywhere. With all these big empty planets, it seems logical. Will Starfield's weapons have traits, such as 20% more damage against humans, for example? That is not really addressed in the showcase either. I don't think. Did you see anything like that? Like a weapon that had a trait attached to it?
I did not.
We didn't even see the inventory screen, did we?
I do not believe we did.
Yeah, and that's probably where we would see something like that. Wow, why did it take me 2 months to realize we didn't see the inventory?
We saw the game menu though, didn't we?
Yeah, the crafting, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess it would probably be a similar vibe to that.
Yeah, I think they've gone back to the menu style. I just hope with like the pop-up menu, they can go back to the Oblivion days where you can see your character as you're adding stuff to see what it looks like. So instead of like putting something on, then you have to exit the inventory just to see what it looks like in Skyrim and Fallout 4. Instead, you can just see it in the menu. That would be way more convenient.
It seems to be something that's made a big resurgence in RPGs. Cyberpunk, Kingdom Come, a couple of my favorite RPGs from the last several years all had that, where you could see your character in the inventory screen. I don't know. Will Starfield have kill cams? We didn't see one. That doesn't mean they won't be in the game. So I think we can void that one probably as inconclusive. How do you think the persuasion minigame will work? Again, we have no idea. We didn't see it. Here's an interesting one. Will there be underwater gameplay at the showcase? I don't think there was.
I don't believe so.
And that I noticed in our community survey, one person said, of course, we know there's going to be space gameplay, we know there's going to be land gameplay, there's going to be sea gameplay, of course. And it would seem that way, but I wonder if they put so many resources into space gameplay that now something had to give, and that was underwater gameplay.
Yeah, I said it episode 11, but underwater gameplay freaked me out. But I'd welcome it.
And I do know on early episodes of the show, you and I had conversations about the water being like a barrier to keep you within the confines of Neon, the city, so that you can't explore that whole planet.
It'd just be water. And maybe some land that probably has nothing on it. Because he said Emil said nondescript aquatic world, so there's not a lot going on it. Maybe there's a village or two somewhere on the other side of the planet, but I think mostly just it's going to be water and Neon.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not convinced that we'll be able to go in that water. It's a very long dive.
I think you'd die from the fall anyway. Like, when you think about it, hitting water is like, well, it's a liquid, but if you just flopped on water, it would hurt. It would really hurt. And you'd probably drown because of how much it hurts. If you're jumping, like, I don't know, I'm going to guess 50 feet drop. That's, like, if you survive, that's going to sting. So I think that's just going to be a death box. Reload save, done. That's just my opinion. Like, I don't think your player's going to do a pencil dive or a normal dive just so they survive. Like, there's nothing there, what's the point in letting the player reach it?
I completely agree that once you go over that and fall in the water, you're dead. But that got me thinking, has Bethesda ever done like a simple death box before? Like, as soon as you fall off, you reload. I can't recall.
Yes, I believe in Elder Scrolls, when you're on certain linear stuff, you can fall off the map and die. I think there's a quest for the Yzra Star, and you're on these like crystal platforms. I think you can fall off that and die.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I guess in some Daedric Prince quests, realms.
Oh, and in Southern Guard, if you don't pass the test and you try and run over the bridge, you'll fall off and die because you haven't proven yourself. That's all I can think of right now.
Okay, so there are some very specific examples.
Yeah. I know the Southern God thing happens, but I think the Southern God thing, you either die or you fall over. I can't remember. But the Yzra Star quest, I think if you fall off, you die. I'm not sure if you can fall off, but I think you can.
Something funny happened to me in Skyrim, kind of related to this. I was in a cave, and I can't remember what it was called, but there was a bridge you cross, and underneath the bridge, really far down in this chasm, is some really fast running water. And I thought it was one of those death boxes. So I was like, oh, I'm going to jump in just for fun. So I saved, made sure, everything was good there. Then I jumped off the bridge, and it actually takes you into like another part of the cave. And there were bandits and I think there were trolls down there. So it was completely unexpected. I didn't think there'd be content there, and there was. You could like flow down this really fast rapids thing, this underwater river. It was cool though. I was just expecting to die and ended up finding new content.
Nice.
We now move on to the lore category. Will they show the Astra in the showcase? Not explicitly, but there was a creature that I think Ad Astra Starfield pointed out that looks very suspiciously like the Astra. And it was in a room that had the vibe of Aquila City. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. I don't have a timestamp or anything.
Yeah, I think, yeah. There's like I don't know if it's stuffed but there's some sort of statue of a creature.
Yeah, it was like taxidermied.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be an Astra. Though if it is, was it big? I think it was big.
It looked pretty big, yeah.
So I might be right that they are bigger than we expected. I mean, I was just expecting a shitpost, but
A literal wolf and velociraptor combo. Long
yep.
live it.
I still want to have those as a mod. Someone makes the models and then you add them, replace the Astra with the meme ones. The true Astra experience mod.
Okay. I'm just kind of tabbing through to try and find that clip because I'm really curious. And also, I did see that there is more than just a simple triangle to the body customization, as we suspected. Oh, there it is. Okay. There actually is a person right next to it. Okay. Yeah, I found it. It's at 7:55 in the gameplay reveal. And it's about 2 persons tall when it's standing on its hind legs. And it's standing right in front of a giant Freestar Collective logo. So it's pretty much confirmed to be in Aquila City.
Okay.
So that's probably a yes. Will the identity of last year's trailer narrator be revealed? That is also yes. We know it's Sarah, the blonde-haired constellation person. That's something that wasn't revealed at the showcase, but I think it was in Bethesda's tweets following. They included a picture of Sarah, and in the alt text was her name.
Yeah, that sounds about right, because that's how we learned about, is it Barrett?
Yes.
And I think you made a tweet about that before people caught on.
I did, yeah. Yeah, Starfield Countdown was like, where did you find this? But yeah, it was in the alt text. Will Axion Energy and Tech be in the showcase? Were our next prompts, and I don't think they were. We did not see them.
I know Argos showed up, which Ola's been talking about for ages at this point. But every time I see Argos, I can't not think of the UK store.
I didn't know there was a store with that name.
Yeah.
Is it like a grocery store?
It's pretty much you can buy anything there. You can like order Legos, I don't know, clothes, technology, accessories, bikes.
Can you get mining equipment by chance?
Probably not. You might have to go to a Pacific company for that. I mean, I don't know what you do with mining equipment. You're going to build a mine in your backyard.
Yeah.
And then you're structurally destroying all your neighbors' houses.
No,
because you're digging underneath their houses, and eventually, if you're not deep enough, like like whatever's underneath is above where the like tunnel is. It's just gonna collapse one day, depending how big it is.
That's what call before you dig is for. You just call the number and tell them you're gonna be digging, and then your house
You
won't
literally
collapse.
have to sit with Google Maps so you can like dig in a specific way, so you don't go underneath houses. I don't know. It depends how far you dig. Like, I don't know. Digging takes ages. I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't either. We will in Starfield though. That's our job when we first start the game.
We're digging. Sorry.
But interestingly, Axion Energy was not seen anywhere in the showcase, to my knowledge.
I don't believe so.
We did not see an armed conflict between the Freestar Collective and the United Colonies, which was the next one. So far, no indication of a colony war too. And we also didn't learn what caused the colony war. Juicehead took a really smart strategy during the predictions. He predicted that they wouldn't go into the lore because they knew the audience for that game would not be the people that care about the lore, by and large. So he racked up a lot of points in the third section.
Yeah,
pretty much by saying they wouldn't touch lore at all.
And like it's been 2 months for me. I think that kind of makes sense. Yeah, absolutely right. it's getting people on board before you start talking about the lore. Like, we got lore from Emil on, or, you know, writers and stuff on the logs, but that was for people who were interested in Starfield. But yeah, with the showcase, it's like they have to advertise this franchise before people get absorbed into it. Like, people, if the game's enjoyable and the quests are written well, yes, then people will care about the lore. And they'll be willing to read it on any of the free wikis that I know of that already exist for Starfield.
Yeah, I'm really excited to learn what caused the colony war, but it's totally understandable why they didn't go into it in June. Obviously, since we didn't learn what caused the colony war, the open-ended question of what was the cause of the colony war doesn't apply. The next one was, will a second pirate faction called Black Fleet be revealed? This was an allusion to a 4chan leak from a long time ago, and it was not. Things don't look good for the infamous hacker known as 4chan.
4chan, that lets us down again.
Yeah, I can't believe that wasn't true. It was on 4chan.
4chan, such a reputable site.
I
don't know if the viewers can hear my sarcasm.
I'm sure they can. All four of us saw right through that and predicted no. The over-under on environments shown was 6.5. I don't know how many environments were shown, but it was a lot more than 7. So everyone except me picked the over. So congratulations on your 2 points.
Thank you.
Next was the questions for the 3 people mentioned in Emil's letter. Will Kiwe Kande, Pascal Logan, or John Tuala be shown? It would have to be like in conversation, so we actually see their names. We saw several NPCs that we never got a name for, so it's possible we did see one or more of them. But it wasn't explicit, so it's pretty much a no for all 3 of them.
Yeah, it's very, very hard to tell.
And will the showcase reveal intelligent aliens? It didn't. What's with these rings, though? These floating rings? That has to be from intelligent aliens, right?
Yeah, the way they were like orbiting each other, right?
It looked like it, yeah.
I keep coming back to the Dyson sphere idea. I don't know if it's some technology to harness the sun. I mean, I don't know what else could it be, or is it like an orb that opens a portal? It'd be kind of cliche, but I don't know, maybe some aliens made themselves disappear into another dimension or something, and this thing will bring them back, and then that will set up aliens in a potential sequel.
Well, we know we could probably do a whole episode on these rings because they seem hugely important to the story. But we know that we find one at our job with Argos extractors and we get a vision from it. We don't really know what that vision entails, and I also don't know if it's just as soon as we like uncovered it while mining, or if it was as soon as we touched it or as soon as we looked at it. But at some point when we interacted with this artifact, they call it, we got a vision. And we also know there are these artifacts scattered all over the place, and they look to be segments of circles that, when put together, orbit each other.
Yeah, so that structure that we still don't know about, are these rings must be the missing piece, and you need all of them to get the thing working.
I would imagine, yeah.
But like, we haven't seen that device. Like, what? Oh, I don't know.
Or do we, though? Because at the end of the showcase, there are a couple of shots where the player's walking around something that looks kind of like what's in that sketch. But there seemed to be one in a desert, there seemed to be one in a cave. So maybe there's multiple, like, of the whole pieces. You know what I mean? So you find the tiny bits, and there's not just one that it can belong to, because we saw that one of those larger ringed structures in a couple different places.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping we don't have to wait till the end of the game to see something like those structures. I'm hoping we get to see one early game to kind of like build up tension. Oh, and I want to explore this, but I can't do anything here until I've got these items that I'm requiring. You know, there's an interact button somewhere and it says you lack the item. That happens in Skyrim.
Oh yeah.
You lack the item required. And then you got to figure out what that item is. Which, if you played Skyrim, you probably know.
That is so strange. But coming, pun intended, coming full circle, I don't see what the origin of those things could be other than intelligent aliens.
I think there's going to be some, like, divine storyline going on. Because I think they're going to tap into religion. So, I don't know, maybe these aliens are more like higher powers that have been absent, or at least from the settled systems anyway. And there's just these remnants. Or maybe they are just normal aliens that are just maybe a Type 3 civilization or Type 2. I don't know. I don't even think we're Type 1.
I think what Type 1 is harvesting the energy of a star.
Oh,
right?
okay, we're Type... whatever's below that then.
Type 0?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty much at the barrel of the bin right now. Aliens could come tomorrow and we'd be basically like infants to them. Because if an alien could get to Earth, they're more advanced than us, way more advanced than us, because they got here. So let's just hope aliens don't come to us, because they might not enjoy our company. Well, actually, they're more likely to probably, I don't know how an alien mind would work, but I suppose we're not worth their time because we're just so pitiful to them.
So then, if we're not worth the time, then they probably wouldn't have deliberately hidden these things throughout the galaxy.
I'm going to lean towards something happened. Kind of like in Subnautica, what happened to the precursors. They couldn't stop this disease, they quarantined the planet, and they turned themselves into digital consciousness. So the race lives on, just in a digital form. So I don't know if it's like that. It's an extinct race. And
That's so creepy.
And we end Starfield with... we get some of their technology. Because think about it, if humanity discovered some alien artifact that they could reverse engineer being a powerful device, and they could figure out how it works, because as humans we've always been good at reverse engineering things, but I don't know, probably not always, but more recently we are. So find some powerful alien object, figure out how it works, and then we just use that to advance our own species. Like the knowledge we gained. Like, oh, this is a great power source. Like, really powerful. Oh, and this is how it works. Oh, we can do that. We have the resources here. It's very, you know, it's stuff we didn't think about, or, I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point.
I've shared similar sentiments on previous episodes, but I can't help but feel like Starfield, the bulk of the story is going to be finding these pieces. At the end, you put them together, and then Starfield 2, or whatever the sequel is called, will be the culmination of the knowledge or the technology that putting all of those pieces together gave humanity.
Actually, that reminded me, I had a theory recently that if Starfield ended with the reveal of aliens, intelligent aliens like humans, and when the DLC comes out, if you meet specific requirements, if you beat the game and the aliens are there and they're around the map now, you played the DLC and they're also in the DLC. But if you haven't beaten the base game and you play the DLC, they won't be there and you'll miss out on some content. I don't know, I'm just, something cool I thought of that they could do.
Yeah.
Because I think in Creation Kit you can disable until requirement, so until they've completed this quest or hit a certain level.
How do you think it'll handle essential NPCs?
Maybe they'll go back to Morrowind. Maybe.
Please. I would love that so much.
As long as the warning's still there. But obviously, there's going to be limitations. I believe children are going to be immortal again because they don't want that controversy. That would be a nightmare, PR-wise. I think that would be the only exception, but I think very specific characters might be essential. But everyone else you can kill.
I'm hugely in favor of no essential NPCs, but there is something to be said for the frustration that comes with you go to a town to get a certain quest, and completely beyond your control, a wild beast killed the quest giver, and now you're locked out of that content in that playthrough.
Yep. It's quite tricky.
Yeah, we shall see. It's such a big game. There's so much that could happen in the simulations and stuff. The final serious category of sorts was the showcase itself, and this is pretty straightforward. Will Starfield be shown at the beginning, middle, or end of the showcase? It was at the end, so Oda and I got that correct. Looks like you said beginning and Juice said middle.
But it was right at the end. They made us sit for an hour and a half almost.
It was. That was brutal. I was so stressed out the entire time.
But Todd made it okay. He came on and I had a smile for myself.
Me too. Starfield did not get a mobile tie-in nor an MMO. Two things that I predicted.
Yeah, I think it's too early for an MMO. Let it build a fan base and give it a couple years. Maybe get a spin-off in the works first.
It seems like such a good universe for an MMO with the modular ships.
The problem with an MMO is you're taking a massive idea and you're making it even bigger. Is that possible? Like for a studio to pull off? It probably won't be Creation Engine again because we're talking massive. I wouldn't be surprised if they borrowed whatever new engine ZOS is working on. Their next gen engine stuff. Because you're talking huge. Ridiculously huge. Bigger than whatever Starfield is right now. Because it's got to have millions of players. Not on the all screen for everyone, but it's got to handle a couple hundred players per zone. Or per instance, sorry. So, that's just how I see it. It's very ambitious and it probably, I don't know, more than... If it's going to be that ambitious, I don't know, it'd probably take, just under 10 years. And even then you'd still have launch problems, bugs, issues, player complaints, stuff like... You're still going to have that. So I think it's best they wait until Starfield's got a big enough fan base before even attempting to greenlight an MMO. Also gives it time to let technology advance, so it might be less expensive to do something like that.
Yeah, true. Any MMO, especially if you're doing one in space, is hundreds of millions of dollars. that you're going to be investing.
It's all the technology involved, mostly. Especially on a custom engine. If they go that route. You know, because they've got to build the flight systems, they've got to... How does space combat feel? How does going to planets work? How do hubs work? If the gravity's different for different players, how does that look to different players who are viewing you doing stuff?
Right. One of the things that got me so excited about the idea of a Starfield MMO was Rich Lambert, the creative director at ZeniMax Online Studios. Throughout the summer and for the months leading up to the June showcase, he would occasionally tweet like, I am so proud of the work my team is doing. Like, it's amazing to be here at ZOS. My team's doing amazing things. Like, really hype stuff about what ZeniMax Online is cooking. And that just got my gears turning that maybe it was a Starfield MMO. And it still could be, but we didn't hear about it in June.
Yeah, it's looking like a Mandalorian MMO. From what was rumoured.
That's pretty cool. I won't complain about that, honestly.
Yeah. ZOS take a long time before they announce a game. It took 5 years for them to announce ESO. And then 2 more years for it to come out. On PC. And in console a year later. And that was before they started making DLC content.
Test 6 did not get another trailer or teaser.
I'm disappointed, but not really.
They were in kind of a pickle where so many people were hyped for Elder Scrolls 6. If they said anything about it, if they gave even the slightest little trailer, people who didn't understand like what the schedule was for Bethesda were going to be, going, where is it? You announced it 4 years ago, and they're still getting some of that. But if they shared another trailer, it would have been that noise tenfold. So I'm kind of glad that they not really swept it under the rug, but just didn't address it, just kept it in the back room.
Bethesda announced it in 2018 just to say, look, it's next, don't worry. We're going to make Starfield, then we'll make your precious Elder Scrolls 6. The one you won't leave us alone about.
And don't get me wrong, I'm crazy excited for Test 6, but I think for this year's purposes, it was good that they didn't show it.
Yeah, like if you look at the 2018 teasers for Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6, Starfield came nowhere near close to Elder Scrolls 6's views for the teaser. Which of course is going to be expected because Elder Scrolls is a massive franchise.
Yeah.
A lot of people like Skyrim and they've been wanting Elder Scrolls 6 since Skyrim came out. They've just had to wait over like 11 years. And they've got to wait another 5 or 6.
Crazy. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah. Imagine if you could go back in time and you could tell someone in 2011 that Skyrim's launched and you can say Elder Scrolls 6 won't be out till like 2026 and they'll look at you like, no way, that's not going to happen.
They'd probably laugh.
Yeah, they'd probably laugh at you. But who's laughing now? We were all ignorant back then.
Oh, that was funny.
Yeah. It's been too long.
Where were we in the thing? Oh, yeah. Kind of similar to Test 6. Will a BGS non-mobile game other than Starfield or Test 6 be revealed? For example, Fallout 5. Obviously, that didn't happen, or else I think we would still be picking up our blown minds off of the ground. Todd being introduced to Todd exiting, we had an over-under wager of 20 minutes. And it was exactly 15 minutes. And for a brief while, I was thinking about making the line 15 minutes. And I don't know what we would have done if I did that. But once again, all three of you picked the under and I picked the over. I was actually, so before I kind of like consulted you and Juice and Oda about some of these questions, I was going to make the line 30 minutes because the previous showcases they've done were 30 minutes. But you all very smartly pointed out to me that now that they're part of the Xbox show, it's probably going to be a lot shorter. And it was.
More condensed. There were, I don't know, more obvious cuts. Like, there was more footage, but they had to cut it down. And maybe we'll see cuts of that footage when they want to show something cool off. Oh, you can do this, and then there's like a new gameplay clip that they had from the cut footage. There might not even be cut footage, there might just be the file and the things they wanted to show off, and that was it. But for all we know, somewhere on the Bethesda computer is raw, just gameplay. I don't know how long they record, probably like an hour of specific things, a lot of console commands, but just think about that for a minute. Somewhere out there might be raw footage of Starfield on a computer.
Sure there is. They playtest, another 4chan leak said they playtest every Thursday. But that one, I think, might have been real. It's like some of the details checked out. I don't know. Those 4chan leaks all run together.
Well, I think even Heavy 008 said they playtest.
Was that the one that said they playtest every Thursday?
Yeah, but I think someone on 4chan did say that as well.
Okay.
But I think that was after, I'm not sure.
Okay. So then, yeah, it's basically confirmed that they do playtest every Thursday. Every Thursday they're playing the game. I'm so jealous. The next two questions dealt with the release date. Obviously, we did not get a new release date, so those won't be scored. And then the last category is Todd. Todd did wear a leather jacket. I was so happy to see that.
Was he wearing the watch? I can't remember.
I had the footage was under review for quite some time. I was like zooming in and I was like zooming in and playing it in slow motion to see if he was wearing the watch. He was wearing a watch, but his sleeves were covering it up, and it's almost impossible to tell if it's the Starfield watch. I'm leaning toward it being more like a Rolex because I saw some like shimmer on it. It looked more like a reflection than like just white paint that we know is on the Chronomark watch. So I don't think he was wearing it.
Yeah, I think it could be unlikely because if he was wearing it, he'd be more likely to have his sleeve rolled up a little bit and have the watch on show. But if it's his personal watch, it does, pull it under the jacket, right?
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, it's unlikely. I was hoping he would have come on with the watch and demo it, but obviously they didn't show the collector's edition, and that's probably because there won't be pre-orders until they have a date, which I don't think they want to do right now, in case they have to push it back again. That's my theory.
Yeah, and I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah. I suppose they'll see where they are by the end of the year, and then they can estimate if it's going to be the first half or the second half. Hopefully first. But if they need extra time, I won't mind. They haven't given us a date. I'm cool.
Yeah, it's just frustrating when they do announce a date, commit to one, and then it gets pushed back. I understand that it happens, but it's still, as a fan, when you've marked your calendar, in many cases, you've called off work, and then it gets pushed back. It's not fun.
Indeed.
Todd's use of the word dynamic. We had an over-under of 1.5. I don't think he said it at all. I was so sad. We got like 3 of those for Fallout 4, and I think 2 in Fallout 76.
He didn't even call us degenerates.
No, he didn't insult us either. There was no mention of Skyrim. All 4 of us predicted that he would. Departing from our normal traditions this year, Todd. No mention of Skyrim at all, and no F-bomb either.
I don't know if that's because it's the Microsoft Showcase.
That would be my guess. Yeah. Thing is, though, like some of the marquee Xbox franchises, like I'm trying to think of ones that aren't Halo. Gears of War, I think, has F-bombs.
I think it's because Microsoft, they showcase a lot of different types of games at their showcases that they might not be. Like Bethesda, they're pretty much all mature games. So at their showcases, they can kind of push that. But Microsoft, they have games that kids can play, like Minecraft. You got games that young teens could play, like Forza, who are getting into cars and stuff. I mean, even Halo, that's quite a tame, tame FPS, because it's like rated 16 or something. Over here, I don't know if it's 18 in America, but I think.
I don't know. I think it is M. So 18.
Yeah, I think Halo's 16 here rated.
Oh, interesting.
Doom is like hard 18, rating. That's a Microsoft franchise now. That's weird.
Yeah.
To say.
That is a good point, though. I guess you had some more kid-oriented games in the same showcase, so it might not be in good taste to have Todd throwing F-bombs on stage.
What's... Am I thinking of Nintendo was Cuphead there? At the showcase, like Cuphead.
Oh, that game's a few years old, but I think
sorry, I meant the DLC.
Oh, okay. Yep. It might have been. I wasn't paying attention. It was kind of like I look at a game until I see that it's not Starfield, and then I was like playing Tetris or something.
And then they have like Ori, and Sea of Thieves. Kids can play that, I believe.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So, I think it's just because of that. It's not so much Microsoft are afraid of dropping F-bombs and stuff. I think it's just because what they cover. And I don't think Bethesda really have any kid-oriented franchises. Besides Commander Keen, but that's a dead IP at the moment.
Oh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, my ship has been sunk enough times to know that plenty of kids play Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
All four of our wildcard guesses were not really addressed. They might, except mine, actually. Juice had said paid mods. That's going to be known further down the road, but I would wager is probably true. Oda said dual wielding will come back. We didn't see it in the showcase, but again, it could be there. You suggested the limited edition Series X will be revealed. It wasn't at the showcase, but it's probably coming. And then I'm a moron, and I said seamless ground to space transitions would be in the game, and Todd was like, "Yeah, no." So no points were awarded for our wildcard guesses.
And that's why they're wildcard guesses. Because we have no clue.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, we had no clue. Past tense.
So the results then, I came in 4th place with 22.5 points. We all ended up with a half because there was that one where we gave out 0.5, and let me just double check what that one was. Simulated orbits, because they're kind of there, but maybe not really. So yeah, we'll all have a half. 3rd place was Juicehead with 27.5. And then 1st place, Oda and Yzra. You both tied with 29.5 points. So congratulations. You share the top step of the podium.
Wait, what position are we again?
1st. You won.
Oh, tied 1st.
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Before we eliminated the ones that weren't answerable, we had 65 total points. After we went through the ones that were inconclusive, we had 45 points. And you and Oda both got 29.5 out of those 45 points. So pretty good.
Pretty good. Not bad for me. Because Oda probably knows more than I do.
Maybe, yeah. Of course, we also had the community survey that everybody had the chance to take, and we got a lot of really good responses. And I was really pleased with the wild cards. There were some really like creative ones. Not all of them got points, but all of them had like some good thought into them. A couple were that we'll have drivable rovers. One person said Starfield will be the best game ever made. I gave them 1.5 out of 3 points for that, just because it was good. I liked it. It made me feel good. Eldon Noble, who was the stand-in host last time, said, I'm hoping to see the ability to have multiple companions, and this could look like having recruitable crew for your ship. Which is like, Todd described that to a T then. So that was a really good one. It was Jim Spencer that said Starfield would be the best game ever made. I was a big fan of that, Jim. Starfield Countdown said, I think we'll be able to pre-order without a release date, which could still happen. And I hope it doesn't, but I think I'm with you.
Yeah, I think there's going to be people that will complain. Oh, I didn't pre-order. I mean, I might as well pre-order. I'm going to have to play the game anyway. Well, because I want to play it and I want to make content on it. So, and so does Mitch. So, we might have to fall into the pre-order pit.
Yeah.
Quite easily.
About 4 copies of the game, I think. I don't know how many, but a lot.
Yeah, like 4 copies. I'm going to buy 100 just to help out Microsoft that makes more money that I know what to do with. It's not that they need the money, but you know. I'm joking, by the way. I won't buy 100 copies unless I was giving them away. 100 copies, that'd be expensive. That'd be like 600. That'd be like $6,000 if you're paying 60 for each copy. Yikes! It's a lot of money to spend.
That is money that I do not have.
Me neither. Yet anyway. Hopefully. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a good paying job in the future.
We can dream. So the top 5 community members, highest scoring community members that took our survey, I guess we'll go from 5th place up to 1st place. In 5th place, we had TKS Mantis on YouTube, who scored 29.5 points out of 45. So 5th place in our community tied the winners among the hosts. That's crazy.
That is.
In 4th place was Eldon the Noble, again, stand-in host from last time, with 30.5 points. Eldon the Noble on Twitch and YouTube. In 3rd place, Astra Starfield, one of my favorite community members, on Twitter, Reddit, and Discord, Astra Starfield, 31 points. Climbing higher and higher, 31 out of 45. I'm not good at fractions. Over 2/3 of predictions on the money. 2nd place was Jim Spencer. There wasn't a social handle given with this entry, just Jim Spencer, 33 points. And the winner of Lorefield's Starfield Showcase predictions survey was Vish, at Vish_Varm on Twitter, with 34.5 points.
34. Jeez, that's a lot.
Yeah. So our community schooled all 4 of us.
They're so much better than us.
Yeah.
Definitely not jealous.
You will all be getting shout outs on our social media, on Twitter specifically. So congratulations to the 5 of you, and thank you to everyone who took it. We did get several other entries who didn't score quite as high, but I still loved reading all of your responses and scoring them. It was a lot of fun. Thank you for your participation in that. Hopefully we can do something like that when the game comes out. I don't know, maybe about like spoilers or something.
That'd be cool.
But yeah, that was pretty much it. I think we might be ready to go on to recommendations. Did you have any closing thoughts about the showcase, I guess?
I'm not satisfied. I need more content.
Absolutely, yeah. Ever since June was great. Ever since then, it has been brutal.
I will never be satisfied till I have a copy of Starfield in my hands.
Like, I'm in between school semesters, so I would have been fine with just like a couple more into the Starfield videos. We didn't get any of those. Like now is when I have all my free time. Like, come on, I need it now. So once school starts back up and I have no free time, I'm sure they'll start coming again, because that's the way the world works. But it's okay.
At least the time will pass quicker for you.
That is true. Yeah, it does. It does go by a lot faster during the semesters, and I guess school will go from a couple weeks from now until early May. So that should be right up to when the game comes out, assuming there's not another delay. So then, recommendations. This month I'm going to recommend. I have to look up the name of the game. I can picture the cover in my head. Outcast Second Contact. I can't even remember the name of the game I'm recommending. It is on Game Pass. It's a remake of a game from the 90s that, as I understand, was not very commercially successful, kind of like a cult classic. And it was remade on Game Pass, and it's kind of a harder, well, not harder sci-fi, but it's a human, and you go through a wormhole, and you're in an alien world. And for a game that didn't get a ton of attention in its day, it is really fun, and I'm really enjoying it. Yeah, the gameplay is holding up pretty well. There's really interesting lore, which of course will interest me. Yeah, it's just a cool little game that I was not expecting to pull me in as much as it has. So Outcast Second Contact, definitely worth it.
Good pick.
Thanks.
For me, it's going to be a movie. And while I was ill, I got the pleasure of watching it after, I don't know when it came out, talking a few years ago. And that is Ready Player One. I think it's fairly enjoyable. I haven't read the book, but I think it was alright. I mean, I think it was a little overhyped when it came out. But yeah, it's definitely enjoyable. Good acting. Lots of Easter eggs. So yeah, I'm going to recommend Ready Player One, the film.
Awesome. If they do a sequel, do you think they would call it Ready Player 2?
I mean, maybe, but I don't know if they ever made sequels to the original novel.
They better call it that. Anyway, yeah, that is not a movie I've seen, but I was very pleased with the way it kind of brought video games into the mainstream. I don't know. I've always had this annoyance with society, I guess, that like video games are always seen as like a toy. Todd has talked about this at length. They're seen as like a toy, whereas like movies and music and books and stuff are seen as like proper adult mediums of entertainment. But video games are kind of cast aside from that group, and Ready Player One I thought was a good way to bridge that gap. Excellent recommendation. So I think we've reached the end of the Lorefield Podcast, episode 13. We should be back actually in 2 weeks. I think we're fine. We're in a spot now where we should be able to do that. Life gets crazy, forgive us, but yeah. We're thinking now. Expect us back in 2 weeks, and we'll probably dive deeper into some of those interesting topics like the rings. There's some stuff in the timeline of the universe that we learned in the showcase that we haven't really talked about on this show that I'm really excited to get into. So we've got some topics that we can dig deep into in probably shorter episodes. But yeah. Thank you so much, everybody. This has been the Lorefield Podcast. You can find us on Reddit, Twitter, Discord, YouTube. I'm going to say it. There's more that I'm probably forgetting. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye all.